Welcome to part 3 of this Credit Control 101 series. Thank you so much for watching this series. This is the third and final installment. If you've joined the series here, then please go back and find part 1 and part 2. In the previous video, I went through credit application forms, credit limits, credit approval forms, explained what those things were, gave some examples, templates, that sort of thing. In this video, I'm going to focus more on chasing customer debt. Now, the easiest way to manage credit, to manage customer debt, is to have a number of efficient credit control procedures and policies, and to ensure that those procedures and policies are followed. Now, referring back to the previous video about credit applications and credit referencing and credit limits and everything else that was mentioned, obviously that is all part of managing credit. Having a credit limit in place is part of managing customer debt and customer credit, and so is having credit checks and all those things. So please don't feel that those things are not managing credit. They are. This video is just more about chasing customer debt and that side of credit management. So the easiest way to manage credit is to have a number of procedures and policies in place. And they may look something like this. This is very brief. It's just an example. A real credit control procedure manual or whatever would be a lot more detailed than this. But just as an example, credit control procedures and policies may look something like this. Number 1, all potential credit customers to complete credit application form. Number 2, credit reference to be completed. Number 3, credit limits set by referencing credit software and customer's request. 4, credit limit to be agreed with finance director. 5, customer account to be created. 6, credit approval letter to be sent. So that is a very basic bog standard set of procedures to follow when having a new credit customer. As mentioned, it would be more detailed in real life. There could be a lot more added and a lot more specific. For example, if the credit customer hasn't returned the application form within 7 days, there could be a procedure in place to then chase that. And there could be some sort of procedure in place if the credit reference is declined, if it's a bad credit reference that's given. There might be some sort of time scale that the credit limit is agreed with the finance director. It would just be more specific and detailed. Now, all of this was covered in the previous video. It's all to do with credit application forms, approving credit, credit limit, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to focus in this video is the other side of these credit control procedures, which is mainly to do with chasing the debt once the invoices have been raised. So the next step on the credit control procedure might be customer invoices to be raised Tuesday and Thursdays. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, invoices are raised and sent to customers. Once again, this could be a lot more detailed, how they're sent, who sends them, etc., etc. Now, if an invoice hasn't been paid and we're 2 days from being overdue, so we have payment terms at 30 days, say, and we're at 28 days, so in 2 days' time, the debt it will be overdue, then an email reminder is sent to the customer, reminding them that payment will soon be overdue. If payment still hasn't been made at 1 day overdue, the policy might be that we email the customer a reminder with a statement of their account. 7 days overdue, they get a phone call and a statement in the post. 14 days overdue, they get another phone call and an email. 21 days overdue, they get another phone call and an email regarding potential legal action. And then 28 days overdue, the policy could be to initiate legal proceedings. So once again, just to reiterate, this is a very basic bog standard sort of procedure. A real one would be more detailed, but this is just to give you an example of the procedures and policies that could be in place when chasing customer debt. Now, when you're chasing invoices, when you're chasing payment for invoices, there's a few tips and advice that I can give you. Number one is to use accounting software. So everything I've basically been through in the last few videos can be covered by some sort of software. Accounting software is great for raising invoices, for tracking invoices, for recording payments, for raising customer statements. Accounting software does all of that. If you are going to be active in your credit control, then you really do need accounting software, no matter how small the business is. If you want to raise statements, if you want to accurately see a customer's account and see the payments they've made, invoices that are outstanding, use accounting software. There is a lot out there that's available. If you need some recommendations, then just drop me an email, info@bpfs-online.com. The second point here is to take notes. Take as many notes as possible. The best credit controllers are those that keep accurate and frequent records. But what should you take notes of? The outcome of any contacts. If you contact a customer and they say, well, it's on the payment run, it will likely be with you next Friday, make a note of that. If the customer says they're struggling for cash or someone's off on holiday, payment's going to be delayed 2 weeks, make a note of that. Because what you don't want to do is to get a payment promise from a customer, you forget, and then call them a few days later or a week later and request payment again. That's just going to frustrate them. It might be a bit embarrassing for you. Also, if you've got notes and the payment hasn't come in, then you can call the customer and say, I spoke to you last week, you said payment would be here by Tuesday. It hasn't. I'm just making sure that it's still going to arrive, and when is it going to arrive? The more notes you take, the more professional and efficient you will be, and the more sharp you will come across as a keen and competent credit controller. Also take notes of contact methods. So what I do with a lot of my customers is I make notes of the outcome of all the methods, statements by post, emails, phone calls, and see what works best with each customer. Because some customers prefer a phone call reminder, some prefer a quick email, some would like a statement on a monthly basis. If you keep notes of all these things, and then you can tailor the credit control for each customer, and that way you'll have much more effective results. Not everyone responds to emails or checks their emails. Not everyone responds to voicemail messages. Not everyone checks their post. Find what's most effective for each customer and then do that. Keep record of any names. Build rapport with those you're talking to. If you can be friendly on the phone and call someone by their name and get to know them, it will help you enormously. You will be surprised about how many customers which prioritize payments to those they know well and like and get on with. Make notes of other details too. If a customer's on holiday, make note of that. If a customer's just had a baby, if they've just moved house, if they've moved business premises, make notes of all these things because you can bring them up. And they could also be factors for late payments, etc. You don't want to raise a legal letter for a customer who told you a few weeks ago that payment will be really late because they're currently moving premises. Credit control done badly can really damage customer relations, whereas credit control done properly can strengthen customer relations and really improve company cash flow. And as mentioned previously, cash is king. It's so important that debts are kept small and as much debt is paid off as possible. And then the last point here is just do it. So many people have the fear factor of picking up the phone, dropping an email, chasing debt, but you just need to do it. And that's the same for everything mentioned in this series. Create effective credit control procedures and then just follow them. You'll see amazing results if you do. If you don't have any policies in place, then your business could suffer because of that. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this has been helpful. I appreciate any feedback. Please like, please subscribe. I have loads and loads of free content on my website, freebookkeepingaccounting.com. This is just one of hundreds of free courses that cover business planning, credit control, finance, accounting, bookkeeping, accounting software, and the list goes on and on. If you would like any of the templates covered in this series, then what I suggest you do is make a very small donation on my website. It can even be $1 or £1, €1. It can be very small. Make a donation, drop me an email, and I'll be more than happy to provide those templates. Please keep in mind that all of this content is for free. 99.9% of the content on my website is free. The donations really help to keep the content free and help to provide more content in future. So thank you for watching. I'll speak to you in another video.